We're starting with a little bit of Adam Schiff here and the thing that's going on between him and Richard Grenell, and then we're going to move on to several topics and end up with something that I think is going to stun you. It did me, surprised me a lot. It's a very interesting yet disturbing type of thing that you need to be aware of. So stick with me, I'll be back in a minute. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I'm going to start out with Richard Grenell here because he and Adam Schiff have been exchanging letters. Now, on April 7th, Adam Schiff sent a letter. Well, he didn't really send it, he leaked it to the press. And then that's how Richard Grenell found out about it. It's a letter to Richard Grenell. And then he sent it to Grenell after that. So it came out in the papers first. It's just incredible. I don't understand Schiff's mentality in this, that he thinks it's more important to send it to the press than it is to send it to the actual person that it goes to. And here's the letter. If you want to see it, here's the actual letter. You can read through that, but I think we talked about it in a previous video, just covering it a little bit. But basically, he's the acting DNI right now, and Schiff is upset that he's changing around the Department of National Intelligence and getting rid of some people and putting other people in place. And he's doing it all without contacting Schiff and getting his approval first. This Adam Schiff, he has this delusion that he is God over everything. So it's just kind of crazy what he's saying here. When you go through the letter, it's just Schiff whining. And so Grenell has rejected Schiff's bid to control national intelligence. So, you're out of luck here, Schiff. But I'll leave these articles down below. This is going to be one of those things where a lot of links will be down below, and I'm just going to give you the headlines, basically. You can go through and read them to get more information on them, because some of the topics I'm going to discuss are going to be a little different, and they might be tough subjects for some of you. So I'll let you know, and I'll try not to give you too much of a problem here. And then, of course, Schiff has to write him back. And this letter, well, he didn't write him back. He actually wrote this to the acting director and chief counsel of the Office of Professional Responsibility and Horowitz, who is the Inspector General of the DOJ, because he's whining about Barr and how Barr is being so unprofessional about things he said about Michael Atkinson, who was the Inspector General of the intelligence community, who, with the whole whistleblower and everything, he's the one that passed that whole whistleblower complaint on. And he blatantly mischaracterized Mr. Atkinson's conduct. And down here, basically, this is what Barr said, that Atkinson tried to turn it into a commission to explore anything in the government and immediately report to Congress without letting the executive branch look at it and determine whether there was any problem. You see, the thing is with these inspectors general, they have a certain jurisdiction that they're over. And the problem was with this Atkinson guy that he was over the intelligence community. That was his jurisdiction. When this whistleblower complaint came to him, it had to do with the President of the United States. This was not in his jurisdiction. He only had power to investigate things that went on in the intelligence community. Well, this was the president. He didn't have power to do that. So that was why he was fired, because he ignored what his whole job was. I mean, he added more to it, and that's why this is what Barr said. So it is true what Barr said. That was absolutely 100% true. Well, you know, Adam Schiff, you read through this. I'm not going to read it to you because it is another of Adam Schiff's fractured fairy tales, because this is just like not reality at all. When you start reading through this, it is as fake as that time that Adam Schiff in front of Congress put out what he called a parody later on, but it was when he did the retelling of the Ukraine call. It was just so totally bogus. Well, that's pretty much what this is. This is just totally bogus. And, you know, I'm not going to subject you to that, but if you want to read it, feel free. It'll be down below. I'll put the link there for you. So yeah, he's none too happy with things. And then I wanted to share this with you because, folks, keep an eye out with your friends and everything, because there are people who are feeling hopeless right now because they have lost their jobs and they don't see how this is going to end. They don't have money for their bills. Please, keep an eye out for them and talk to them and try to give them hope, because there is hope. This isn't going to last much longer. It really isn't. We're getting to the point where, first of all, people are tired of being cooped up. Secondly, we've gotten over that hump and it's just going to have to open up. People need to get out. We need to be with each other. It's just part of it. I'm not going to read through this because he was very upset when he wrote it, obviously. But, pray for the family. Pray for Dan, too. And this is frustrating for everyone, but it's even harder when we have friends that we lose during this. And there are many ways to lose a friend. It's not just from the virus, but this can be an option too. And we don't want that to happen to anybody. So please encourage people. If you see somebody who's getting down about it, talk to them, encourage them, tell them, remind them that it's not going to be forever. Here's an op-ed that's a really good idea for making China pay, because they really have damaged the whole world. I mean, it's not just the United States, but if you read through this, here's what this guy suggests. Those allies will then be able to confiscate Chinese holdings, not just financial holdings, but also strategic ports around the world to which they lay claim, including so-called dual-use ports that have allowed China to project its naval power throughout the Eastern Hemisphere. This would hit China where it's at, because if they're not only putting, financial holdings, they're taking them, they're confiscating them, and then they're also hitting these ports, big time problems for China. So this was a really good op-ed, I think, and I think there's an Article 5 of the NATO treaty that would support that. So it's very possible that could be a route that they go. This is this guy's opinion, and like I said, I think it's good. It's a good idea. I'd like to see China be held accountable. Then we have this one. AG Barr says he may go after governors who persist on authoritarian coronavirus lockdown orders. Now, this is not surprising to me, because I knew that when President Trump was talking about the governors and he was kind of giving them a little bit of a warning. It's been a few days ago in one of the briefings. And he kind of let them know that, yeah, you need to start moving towards opening. And if you're not going to do that, we could take some action. So this does not surprise me that Barr may go after the governors. I think they're going to give the governors a chance to do what's right. And if they choose not to do that, if they're going to try to stretch this out until August, that's not going to happen. And some of them are buckling down. I showed you the thing in California where they filled in all the skate parks. Yeah, and then, you know what? I didn't show you this one, but the kids got their dirt bikes and they went out there with the dirt bikes. So they actually are out there anyway. I just thought it was pretty funny. And so this is probably going to happen, and be aware of it, be ready for it. And then, we talked about Harvard. Well, Harvard's getting a bailout, and not just a small bailout here, folks, but they're getting, has an endowment of $40 billion, and guess which Institute of Higher Learning is getting a coronavirus bailout? Yep, Harvard has been granted and is accepting $8.7 million in federal aid. And only half of that must be reserved for emergency financial aid for students. Consider that in fiscal year 2019, Harvard spent $1.9 billion of its endowment covering the gaps for students in need and ended the year with a nearly $300 million surplus. Yeah, so meanwhile, 22 million Americans are suddenly unemployed, many waiting on a $1,200 federal rescue check. Does kind of put it in perspective there when you see it that way, doesn't it? So I'll leave the link to that one down below. It was a good article, but it's a little frustrating because, Harvard doesn't need that money, especially since, remember, Charles Lieber, who was the chair of their chemistry and biology department, is the guy who was just indicted for working with China. Wuhan, China. So, yeah, and they were part of it. They knew it. Well, I wanted to put this out. This is the real attorney Huber. This is definitely him. And he put out a statement here because it's like Victims of Crime Remembrance Day or month or something. And he said, "We remember crimes of victims every day we come to work. We will always seek justice for them and ensure we hold offenders accountable." And then up here he says, "This week we renew our strong commitment to deliver justice on behalf of victims of crime." I just thought it was interesting of the timing on this, that he put it out. And we are, according to John Solomon, we really are expecting indictments this week, or at least in the very near future. So I'm kind of thinking maybe Friday, because they like to do that. They like to do document dumps on Friday. So I'm kind of thinking maybe there'll be an indictment dump. And then I wanted to refer back to this. Now, in the last video, I mentioned this, and somebody said that they thought maybe it had been doctored. Well, this is from the Golden State Times. They're pretty reliable. And this is their feed, their live stream that they did. Because if you keep it going, near the end, you can hear they're starting in with their live feed. So you knew that this is what it was. I don't think this is doctored. What I heard them say was pretty much what this researcher said. So this is what he says. "My transcription, as best I can decipher the audio. You can take off the mask, Doug. The base mortality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC. Is it really? That's reassuring. Everybody here's been V'd anyway. USC and LA County Public Health has come out with a study. They found that there's 7,000 cases in California, but they really believe that there are anywhere between 221,000 to 442,000 people who were infected." Really? Yeah. So that makes it 0.1 to 0.3? Yep. It's the study that came out, and then there was something this person couldn't understand. I couldn't understand that either. There were a couple places that this researcher got more than I did. Yeah, it just came in today. So it suggests that the case fatality rate is about 1/10 of what it seems to be. Puts it right in line with the flu. Yeah, exactly what it is, the flu. So it's a H. I don't think it's an H. So, yeah, I just thought I would leave that, and I will put this down below, this URL, so you'll be able to read it yourself. And so if you're wondering why there are certain words I don't say, folks, it's a game we're playing. Those of us who do conservative videos are kind of on the front lines of this battle, and we really do walk a fine line. This is one of them. Right here, if you go through this video, you'll see that she's taking a stance. This is the YouTube CEO, and she's taken a stance that if you say things that go against the WHO, you'll have your video removed. So, this is kind of serious when they make statements like this, and that really is what she said. And here's the video. You can watch it if you want to, but that's what she said. So be aware that we're trying to get information out there, but we're faced with some realities, and we're trying to stay within the guidelines, but sometimes it's difficult. So we're doing the best we can, and I hope you can put up with us with the little lingo we have to use to be able to do that. But we want to make sure we get information to you, and sometimes it's a challenge. So this one is one of those that I can tell you very little about, but I think you can see what the reason is that I want to pass this information on to you. And if you click on this, it'll make a bigger chart so you can see it. But yeah, for this age group, these are some of the things that they are saying. And this is from the World Health Organization. So I will leave the link to this down below. Fortunately, when it's on this website, this is the We Are the News website, I can leave that notable link, and it passes the inspection. So that's always good. Now, the stuff we're going to get in here, people, is not going to be for the faint of heart. So if you're a little squeamish, hang on. You might not want to stick with me for the end of this, because the end of this video, I've got a couple of rather shocking things. This one right here, again, is one of those threads I'm not going to read, but if you're interested, this is what the researchers are currently working on, and they're starting to put pieces together from what's been told to us by the 17th letter of the alphabet, especially when we're referred to as sheep and cattle. And it's disgusting. It really is. And, you know, I'm not saying this is true, but this seems to be the pieces they're putting together. And the interesting thing is, if we're talking about the pork processing plants and other meat processing plants, maybe there's more of a reason for them to be shut down right now than just the virus. So it's a possibility. Okay, I'm just going to leave this link down below for you, and you can read through it on your own. It does get a little confusing because you don't see quite what they're responding to all the time. And if you take these links, you can go to the actual boards, but that gets a little confusing too if you're not used to navigating them. But I wanted to show you one down here. There's an article from, by the way, this is a search site. If you go to this, you can search all the boards. And it really is very interesting sometimes if you have a certain topic you want to check out. Down here is an article that, and some statistics and things that they are figuring in. Again, this is not confirmed. This has not been confirmed. This is speculation, but I think they are probably going to be right in the long run. It's kind of sad, but this article right here is from the Daily Caller, and it's definitely something that you don't want to read if you don't have a strong stomach. Okay? Just going to tell you that. But it's true. I mean, this was true life. And there are things going on that are documented. I mean, it's like authorities know this stuff is going on, but most of us don't. And so I'm going to leave this down below. Like I said, it's got a lot of these, and this one's a little creepy because I never connected it. And so they make connections. Again, I'm not saying these are actually true. I'm just saying this is what they are theorizing at the time. They're starting to pick up some threads that seem to point in those directions. And so the next part, I really feel like I need to let you know about. This gentleman right here is a doctor, Paul Byrne, and he is board certified neonatologist and pediatrician. So he's worked with the little babies, the, preemies and stuff. And he's got quite a bit of credentials here. He's a strong Catholic, and, he's been doing a lot. But his specialty is dealing with life issues, and especially dealing with whether people really are still in there near the end of life. And if you go to this video, it's about 18 minutes long, and he knows he's being recorded. I'm pretty sure he does. This isn't an undercover video, but it is, a phone video, and they didn't turn it sideways. Folks, if you're ever recording something on your phone, turn your phone sideways so it fits in the screen and you don't get the white bars on the side. Sorry, it's a pet peeve of mine. So, and he's smiling here, but the topic that he's going to be discussing is not at all something to smile about. It is very bad, folks. And we need to be aware of this because there's a lot of things we've been lied about in the past. And this one, I think, is a horrendous lie. So it just, you need to find out about this. And again, I'm really sorry that I can't say more, but you understand if you watch the YouTube CEO's video. I want to get the information out to you, but I have to do it carefully. And so I just wanted you to understand this, that this is what's going on. And this video is well worth watching. Now, it's not the full clip. The full clip actually is linked to right here. I haven't watched the full one because it's an hour and some. But I did watch another interview with him. This one right here. And it was about an hour long too, 54 minutes. I have some, as a Christian, I have a few theological differences with him because this man's a very strong Catholic and everything. And there are some theological differences. But what he's talking about with this topic right here, very important. And we need to know about it. We really do. So this one, he goes into a lot more detail than the other one. But in this one, he will lay it right out, the whole thing. And he's got a couple of websites. This is one. And he's just trying to make sure people understand the commitment they get into when they sign up to be one of these things. And so it's more than you think it is. And I was very surprised when I went through it. What they're saying, there's still life there, folks. There's still life. They just, in order to remove things, they end up anesthetizing the person so they can't respond to the pain as they're removing things. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. This is a organization he's connected with too, Renew America. And again, it's pretty much nonpartisan and non-denominational. I don't agree with everything they have in their statement because they have some things here, their positions and policies. I don't agree with their some of their stuff, but most of it I do, almost all of it. But they're definitely very focused on the Constitution and getting us back to where our founding fathers intended us to be. So I thought that was good too. So anyway, I'll leave the links to all of these things down below. And again, I'm really kind of sorry that I can't talk more about these, but I think once you start reading the articles for yourself, you'll understand. But this information needs to be out there. Now, again, for those who don't understand how this works, the reason I'm being so cautious is because when videos get the big D, that means that they don't get put in the list. When you're watching videos like this, you have this list over here of recommended videos. You won't see the big D videos as often. So unless you're on that topic. So you need to understand that it's not really about the money, although that's kind of an important part about it too, that I do need to live and pay bills. But it's really about how much play it gets and, whether the information is getting out there. If it gets the big D, then usually it only appears in the recommended videos for people who are subscribers, which is great because I want my subscribers to see it, but I also need other eyes on it too. And they've really worked with the algorithm to try to skew it. And it's been working for the past year. It started on March 17th of last year when it just took a huge drop. I mean, it was significant and everybody's data just crashed. So we all understand what went on. We know what's still going on, and it's not going to get any better. If you watch my last video, you understand that there's a concerted effort to take us down and anyone who supports Trump. So we have to be really careful. And we're doing the best we can. We're trying to still make sure we can get the information out there to you. And that's what I'm doing. So the links will all be down below. I think probably they should be okay. I hope. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. Please look at these different links because this information is too important for people to just pass on. You really do need to check into this. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.